A. Harvey is committed to safe working practices and a safe working environment. It is the responsibility of all employees, contractors, and visitors to comply with the safety and security policies and procedures that A. Harvey has established. It is our obligation to make safety and security a way of life and the workplace accident-free. A. Harvey recognizes its responsibility to ensure that industry, health and safety standards, as well as legislative requirements, are met through the provision of adequate facilities, equipment, and procedures. By understanding the risks, the work methods we've developed to reduce risk, by practicing those standards every day, and by listening to you about safety concerns, A. Harvey will endeavor to make sure you return home without injury or incident. Welcome to the A. Harvey Marine Base. This is a multifunctional general cargo and offshore support marine terminal that employs the most advanced equipment and processes in the industry. The Marine Base property encompasses almost 13 acres of land, including 5 vessel berths. These berths are known as Piers 14, 15, and 16. The facility is registered under Transport Canada security regulations. It operates under the ISO 9001 quality system and is a registered oil handling facility. Before entering, it is imperative that we make you aware of important safety and operational guidelines. The Marine Base is regulated by the Canada Labour Code and is in operation all year round in all types of weather. Upon arriving at the base, everyone must check with the security office. It is essential that the security office be advised in advance of any traffic or personnel wishing to gain entry into our facility. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, must be worn at all times. This includes CSA-approved hard hats, highly visible clothing, work gloves, CSA-approved safety footwear. Additional PPE must be used as required. Signs are posted throughout the facility. They are there for your safety and must be observed and obeyed. When transiting the area, the following must be observed. Use only the designated routes. Never walk through the base without personal protective equipment and/or being escorted. Smoking is not permitted. Smoke only in designated areas. The use of cell phones or other social media devices while driving in this facility is prohibited. Consumption, possession, and otherwise under the influence of alcohol or illicit drugs is strictly prohibited. Fighting, horseplay, practical jokes, and other interference with co-workers and drivers will not be tolerated. Theft, vandalism, or other abuse or misuse of freight or company property is prohibited. Be observant. Note and report any suspicious activity or packages. All traffic must be observed and their movements noted. Forklifts are in constant operation and drivers have restricted visibility. At all times, they have the right of way. It is imperative that you never drive or walk under one of these units or a suspended load. Riding on a forklift is not permitted. A spotter guides the movement of the crane. Observe and obey their directions at all times. Never walk between containers. If it is necessary, advise a base supervisor who will direct you on the procedure. All incidents, near misses, close calls, or damage to property, material, or equipment must be reported immediately to one of the operations staff. Vehicles or personnel exiting the base must always stop at the security office. For your protection, the Marine Base has initiated a behavioral-based observation program called IDENT. To participate, simply take an IDENT card with you during your visit and notice the activities and conditions that surround you. The card allows persons to make general suggestions to improve our operations or the safety security program. We encourage full participation by all visitors, contractors, vessel crews, and Marine Base employees. Complete the card as directed and drop it into one of the collection boxes that are located in the operations office, the security kiosk, and the warehouse receiving desk. The program is intended for all persons working on or visiting our facility to identify both safe and unsafe acts or conditions. Evaluate the risks and hazards associated with what you have observed. Notify the person observed performing an unsafe act or a supervisor as to what you have identified and take the appropriate action. Describe what you have observed by filling out an IDENT card. Please don't consider these cards as eyes to unsafe conditions, or as some call them, rat cards. They are there for your protection. Remember, all the safety precautions implemented are in place for your safety. After all, there are others who want you to come home safely. In the event of an emergency, proceed to the nearest muster station and wait for directions from Marine Base staff. Muster stations are located at the east and west security kiosks. Persons handling controlled products must be properly trained in the Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System, or WHMIS. Policy and procedure manuals provide information on the Canada Labour Code and company work practices. They are located in the Operations Office and Warehouse Receiving. For those requiring the use of the material safety data sheets, binders are located at the Operations Office, the Receiving Shipping Warehouse, and the Security Kiosk. Eye wash stations are located in the East-West Security Kiosk, Operations Front Entrance, and the Warehouse. An emergency shower is available and is located in the warehouse. Please report any first aid incidents to the Marine Base staff. First aid kits are located in East-West Security Kiosks, Operations Office, and the warehouse. An automated external defibrillator is located at the office. This must only be used by trained personnel. Marked with a sticker or sign, fire extinguishers are located throughout the base. Know their locations. Monday to Friday, all persons entering the base between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. must use the West Gate. After hours and on the weekend, the East Gate must be used. Contractors entering with heavy equipment, however, must always use the East Gate. All vehicles entering by the East Gate must stop at the base of the hill. Proceed only when it is safe to do so. Upon entering, carefully follow the outlined route and proceed as directed by security. Vehicles transiting the base must display a flashing amber light. This will be issued if required. Visitors only going as far as the office are not required to have this light. The maximum speed limit is 20 km per hour under ideal conditions. This speed is strictly enforced. Please adjust your speed accordingly due to adverse weather or congested operations. The Marine Base has a high volume of tractor activity. Traffic must be observed and their movements noted. Stay in the designated driving lanes. Do not pass other vehicles. Failure to observe the speed limit or any other safety rule will mean restricted access to the base. The use of cell phones or other social media devices while driving at this facility is prohibited. Various pieces of heavy equipment are constantly operating within the yard. At all times, they have the right of way. Forklifts are always in motion. Their drivers have restricted visibility. Approaching a forklift, vehicles must stop and observe its operation. Upon approaching a moving forklift, vehicles must stop and wait for the unit to pass. Vehicles must not move until the forklift has completed its task and has cleared the area, or you have been waved through. It is imperative that you make direct eye contact with the equipment operator and proceed only when the operator gives a clear instruction. This ensures the intentions of both are noted and understood. Park as directed by security, reverse parking only. Never park by a vessel unless authorized. If parking by a vessel is necessary, reverse park and leave the keys in the ignition. Before exiting the base, all vehicles must stop at the security office, return any issued equipment, and sign or card out. Contractors must have prior approval before accessing the Marine Base. Entering, stop at the security office. Here, your access pass will be verified. Those without this card must sign in. Under the Canadian Government ISPS Marine Security Regulations, A. Harvey has the right to search persons, baggage, and vehicles entering the facility. Upon entering, proceed to your assigned parking or work area. Remember, the speed limit is 20 km per hour. Only drive in the designated lanes. Various pieces of heavy equipment are constantly operating within the yard. Remember, at all times, they have the right of way. Park only in the designated area. Always reverse park. Parking by a vessel is not permitted unless approved by a Marine Base supervisor or manager. If approved, reverse park and leave the keys in the ignition. Only those who have tools and equipment and require their vehicle to complete work are allowed to drive their vehicle to the vessel. A shuttle bus service is provided from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Security will arrange for this service if your vehicle is not necessary. If you are required to board a vessel, the gangway must be used. Hold on to the handrails and for solid footing, walk on the ridges. After hours, contractors wishing to depart a vessel on foot must notify security prior to leaving the ship. A work permit from the operations office is required prior to commencing any work on the base or a vessel's deck. Personal protective equipment must always be worn. This may include safety glasses. Hearing protection and other job-specific safety equipment must be worn as required. Fall protection must be used when working at heights higher than 2.6 meters, which is approximately 8 feet. PFDs, or personal flotation devices, must be worn when working near the edge of the dock or over water. When possible, use a barricade system to secure or mark off your work area. Ensure that all equipment is in proper working order, inspected prior to use, and that any necessary maintenance has been carried out prior to commencing work. Make sure that the right tool is used for the required task. Proper lockout and confined space entry procedures must be followed at all times as applicable. Once work is completed, the work area must be cleaned and the marine base work permit signed off. Removal of any material from the marine base is prohibited unless it is recorded and authorized by one of the marine base managers. This includes waste, wood, pallets, and scrap metals. A material transfer note will be issued prior to the removal of any material. Stop at the security office prior to exiting the facility. Return any issued equipment and sign or card out. Please contact your facilitator if you have any questions regarding the information in this video.